There are over 8,000 posts on Upwork for businesses that are looking for copywriters on Upwork at the time of making this video. But if you're learning copywriting the old way right now, you're probably making one of the worst career decisions of your life. And before you click off this video, hear me out, because I'm currently making money with copywriting, and my community of early stage copywriters are actively getting clients as we speak with what I'm about to show you. But let me make this clear. The skill that's made so many people money over the past 10 years is changing dramatically. Copywriting is on the verge of becoming worthless if you don't understand the concepts I'm going to show you here. And there are a select few people who are positioning themselves in the right way to make sure that they actually capitalize on what's to come. So if you stick with me here, I'm going to walk you through the exact framework that shows you exactly how to make sure that your copywriting skills stay valuable in the AI era. Because my goal is to help you succeed and not get absolutely crushed by AI. Okay, so the big lie that I've seen people talk about in copywriting these days is when they tell you to send 100 Instagram DMs, or just grab a swipe file from a school community, or just press a button and AI will help the money roll in for you. And I think that anyone who's done copywriting for more than like a month will realize that this is just total bullshit. I've made content before exposing my DMs from people who follow this kind of advice, and it's just clear evidence that this stuff doesn't work. And the reason is really simple. It's because if you're using the same templates, the same prompts, and the same recycled copy as everybody else, you're not going to stand out. Nobody is going to pay you to be a copywriter if you are just a simple spammer like everybody else. They pay someone who can solve complex problems that take them a lot of time or cost them a lot of money. Now, I'm not saying copywriting's dead. My coaching students still use it and make money with it every single day, and I'm using it right now. It's just that the value proposition that you make as a copywriter is currently shifting from what it's been the last couple of years. A few years ago, just being a good copywriter and maybe being able to run an email marketing sequence would have been enough to make you quite good money online. But nowadays, AI can write 50 headlines in about 5 seconds, and that is a big change. So the people who are really going to succeed with copywriting and make so much money in the long term aren't just the ones that can write good copy. They're the ones that can pair good copy with another complementary skill that a business owner needs. And knowing what those complementary skills are is really important. Let me give you an example to explain this. Blockbuster used to be a company that would rent out DVDs, and they made billions of dollars doing this because people loved it. It worked really well for a while. But then when Netflix came along, people realized it was easier to stream 1,000 movies by buying this subscription rather than renting out DVDs one at a time. And so Blockbuster's old way of doing things lost its edge, and it's not that people stopped watching movies, it's that the way they consumed them was different. And so the company that thrived was the company that adopted this new way of serving the customers in that market. They're serving the same thing, but they're just serving it in a better way. And copywriting's going through the exact same shift, and most people just don't see this. It's not that businesses don't need persuasive words anymore, because they need them more than ever. Literally, online business is only growing. But the way those words are created, delivered, and paired with other tools to help businesses make more money is vastly different than it was 5 years ago. If you're still stuck in the Blockbuster era of copywriting, then you really need to understand what I'm going to show you here. So this is where my framework comes in. I call it the PAIR framework. PAIR with a P-A-I-R, not like the fruit. Okay, so let me give you an example to explain the first part of this framework. Imagine I asked AI to write me an intro for a YouTube video, but I told it to make me sound Irish because I'm Irish and I wanted to make sure that it sounds genuine. I actually did put this through AI to see what it wrote, and it wrote this. Top of the morning, lads. Today we're chatting about the grand old craft of copywriting over a pint of Guinness. Now, that is technically Irish, but anybody who actually watches my content or knows me can tell that it's just fake. If I actually opened a video like that and you were Irish, you would click off the video instantly because you'd be like, what is this guy on about? AI can mimic human emotion and how humans speak, but it can never do it to the extent that a human could. And that's why the first part of my framework is called psychology, because AI doesn't actually know your customer as well as you do. So if I was trying to write in the voice of, let's say, a creator that targets an African American community, Audiences can tell when something is written inauthentically because there's cultural nuances, there's dialect choices, there's a rhythm of how someone speaks. And if I don't study the market and truly understand how my audience speaks, I can't relate to them because I used AI. Now, can AI spit out generic headlines and email drafts in that market? Sure, but without my tweaking, they won't sound very good. They'll just feel like generic and robotic, and the audience will be able to tell straight away. And this is the most important point of probably this entire video. If I didn't learn copywriting properly and understand psychology, I wouldn't even be aware that there is a problem with using AI to write copy and not tweak it. If I didn't understand the fundamentals of good copywriting and know how to use AI properly, I would spit out crappy stuff with AI and think that my audience would like it because I just don't understand what I'm doing. And if you don't get this part right, not only will the copy that you write for an audience not make you money, it will also actively burn the reputation of whoever you're writing for because people don't like to read AI copy and it feels like an insult to be sent it. And that brings us to the next part of this framework. Sorry, my camera died. If it looks a bit weird, that's why. I should really be more professional, but we're on YouTube. Anyway, as I was saying, this brings us to our next part of our framework. Once you understand psychology, you'll start to realize something really important. And that is that even the best written copy isn't enough on its own nowadays. Most beginner copywriters think that if they can just write a sales page or a couple of emails, that's going to do enough to make them money on their own. But in reality, that's just not how most businesses make their money. The bulk of people's revenue in their business doesn't come from like a one-off marketing campaign. It comes from the audience that they're building over time. And that's why the second piece of this framework is audience growth. If you can use your copy skills to help someone build an audience on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, wherever, you'll be able to add so much more value to a business than just by writing sales emails. And what does that look like? Well, you could help someone write YouTube scripts or write tweets or write Instagram captions or Instagram stories, or you could respond to Instagram Q&As with responses that come from the creator. So do you ever see when Iman Gadzi posts a Q&A on his Instagram, he'll basically say, ask me questions, he'll pick like 10 and he'll have written responses. It's 99% likely that Iman is not actually responding to those, but someone on his team who writes his copy knows how Iman thinks and knows how to answer questions and knows how to answer questions in a way that will make people trust him more, want to buy from him more, want to like him more. And that's why a copywriter is answering the questions on Iman's account. So stuff like this is really, really valuable and most people just don't know about it. So help them build an audience and you'll make so much more money. Now, the next part of our framework is where this starts to really compound. So now you understand psychology, you're helping them build an audience, but now it's important to actually understand what you're sending that audience to. A lot of copywriters will come in and just offer writing services, but if you understand how to craft good offers for a business owner, you've now added another string to your bow where you know how to build their audience, you know the psychology behind selling to that specific audience, and now you can help them actually craft what the audience is buying. So you're just adding so much value to the business. And an example of this is if you just tried to be a standard copywriter nowadays and you're writing ads for a business or you're writing emails that sell their product and the product itself isn't very good, then it doesn't matter how good your emails are. If the offer itself is shit and it's worded poorly and it doesn't actually appeal to what the audience wants, the business won't make any sales and you'll probably get the blame as the copywriter. Now, if you compared that to a copywriter who also understands offers and can consult the business owner on how he could position this offer based on what his audience would want, you can make a better offer that will make more sales for that business owner. And if you understand the audience and you're writing copy to them every single day, it's going to be a lot easier for you to actually write up an offer or come up with something that the business owner could sell because you know who you're talking to and you know what they want. I've written a little example here. So imagine you close someone as a client, as a copywriter, and they sell a copywriting program or something like that. And imagine their offer is learn copywriting in 12 weeks. That is a really bad offer. If that's the headline for your offer, if that's your promise, it's really bad. Now, if you understood how to create good offers, you might position the offer like, this program helps you land your first paying client in 30 days, even if you've never written a word of copy before. So that's way more specific, way clearer of a goal that the customer will get from buying this product. And honestly, it's just a much more compelling offer. And that's why the name for the third part of our framework here is integration. If you know how your copy fits into the business and you can understand the business on a wider level, you will make more money guaranteed. And this takes us on to the fourth part of our framework. Okay, so you know how to create an offer, you know the psychology of the customer, you know how to build an audience. Now you only have a certain amount of hours in the day to do everything. And this is where AI becomes really useful, and this is brand new to copywriting. AI is not here to take your job, but it's to take the stuff that you've already written further. For example, let's say you take an email that you've written for a client. You can then take that email, pop it into AI, and turn it into a Twitter post that will sound good on Twitter, a YouTube community post that will make sense on YouTube, and an Instagram story that will actually look good. Back in the old days, if you took an email and you tried to just put it on an Instagram story, it would look terrible. But with AI, it can format it so it actually works for that specific platform. Now, instead of just writing a piece of copy and then going to one place, you can multiply the output of that piece of copy by putting it across all the socials and possibly even creating long form content out of it. So many people are creating content now, so if you're going to help a business and you're writing copy for them, you need to look at how you can repurpose as much of the content you create for them as possible and turn it into as much value for their audience as you can. Alex Ramosi always talks about the amount of volume you need to be successful on social media nowadays, and it's absolutely true. So you need to look at where you can do this. And luckily with AI, you can just do so much of that so much easier. Now, if you're still unaware of how to actually make real money with copywriting, you should click the video on screen because it's going to help you do exactly that. So make sure to click it, and I'll see you in there. Thanks for watching.